100.3 Phillies R&B, Ash Mack here. And I'm so honored we have a chance to sit down with this person that really just has so many gifts and sharing them with the world and having a moment to stop everything to share that with us. That is best-selling author, award-winning producer, a trusted voice when it comes to relationships, when it comes to faith, when it comes to success. And now we get to step into a new era. So I'm happy we get to step into it with you. Please welcome DeVon Franklin.
Ah,
Yes. Whoop, whoop.
hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I think we got to start this off with like a little bit of an icebreaker. So
Okay,
don't think
let's
too
do
much about this. Don't think too
it.
much. I just want the first thing that comes to mind, okay? We're going to
Yes,
do this or that. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Love or peace?
Oh, come on now. Love. I'm gonna choose love.
Faith or freedom?
Oh my goodness, they're like one and the same. Okay, I'm gonna choose faith. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Text or FaceTime?
FaceTime all the way.
FaceTime. Okay. Tea or coffee?
Tea. Don't like coffee.
Okay, okay. Alone time or quality time?
I'm gonna go with quality time. I love good quality time.
Okay. And speak now or pray on it?
Ooh, pray on it. Because a lot of times you speak too quick and you say the wrong thing.
Hello? Say it again, okay?
That's
And we
right.
we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do
No.
that. Well, we're getting ready to breaking down to breakthrough with you. And you have more than a few shows that we're excited to be a part of, to see. And take us on this journey of how did you get to this point? Because you've really been booked and busy. We've seen you on how many shows, movies, now Divorced Sisters as well. And now you got this show. It's a one-man show. So tell us about this and really the journey of how you got here.
Yeah, no, thanks for the question. I mean, so I have this new one-man show called Be True, which is, my journey from breakdown to breakthrough. I'm putting up this one-man show at this off-Broadway theater owned by Audible called the Minetta Theatre. It opens Friday night. We do an encore performance Saturday night. And I'm so excited to bring this show to New York. It's a very unique opportunity to be able to dramatize and be able to, do a performance that walks
Sure.
people through my journey over the past few years because I believe what I've experienced can help somebody else. I mean, that's really, the journey was, I believe since, I became an author, oh man, over 10 years ago. And it wasn't even because I wanted to become an author. It was just that my experience at that time in Hollywood, as someone who had been in Hollywood, who was maintaining their faith, I just was presented with an opportunity to write my first book called Produced by Faith, which I did, and then have written about 6 books since. And so I've always wanted to just share what I'm learning as I'm navigating life and career with anyone that cares to listen. And it was a great
Sure.
opportunity to be able to do this one-man show in conjunction with Audible. And I've never done a one-man show before. I've been in entertainment for a long time, but this was the first time doing something, that was with theater. And I really love this opportunity because so often we go through things and we never talk about it. We never express what our process was. How do you go from hurt to
Sure.
healing? How do you go from, heartbreak to wholeness? And so I wanted to be able to articulate that and do that in a way that was entertaining and dramatic. And that's what became the auspices for me doing this show called Be True.
Okay, so how have you been able to be true with yourself? Because you've never been a person to shy away from the difficult conversations, being transparent on camera, off camera, interviews, everything. You've been very transparent with it to the point where it's like, how can you feel so comfortable and confident in doing so when a lot of times in Hollywood and music and entertainment, people would rather be very closed off about their personal life and journey?
Yeah, I think part of it has to do with, once you let people in, they're in, okay? So once you, decide, oh, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to invite people into my life, well, then they're in, right? Now you can still manage
Sure.
to what degree they're in, but once you let people in, it doesn't necessarily work that you say, okay, well, I'm done now. So for me, so much of it is rooted in what the show is about, which is being true
Hmm.
because a lot of times we're not true. A lot of times we're presenting an image of what we think people will accept or what they want from us, but it's not really
Sure.
true. And so for me, to your point, to your question, what I think helps me be able to navigate the public and navigate my life from from a place of maybe authenticity is my commitment to what it means to me to be true. Because
Hmm.
be doing right now, doing this interview, saying what I'm saying, I'm operating from a place of what's true for me. And no
Hmm.
matter what somebody says or no matter how someone reacts, I can always go back to that as an anchor. The challenge is like, let's say I'm not being true and I'm trying to present, a persona or trying to present an image. And then, what I say gets taken out of context. Then I'm in turmoil. Why? Because
Sure.
I presented a persona and now people, are taking it the wrong way. And as a result of me not being true, now I'm unanchored and I'm frustrated. But if I sit here and I'm
Sure.
in my truth and I say something, then I can actually deal with whatever the ramifications of that may or may not be because it came from a
Right.
truth and the intention was to never do harm, but to do what I can to be of service in the form of healing. So I hope that answers the question. It really comes from
Yeah.
sitting with that truth and being comfortable there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That answers the question. But when it comes to, and I love the point you made of your commitment to being true, how do you stay true when you know your personal commitment to self might bother others with that?
Yeah, well, listen, I have a whole segment on this in my one man show. So, I deal with it. And it really comes with this. When we live for the commentary or the comments or to avoid the criticism of others, we put
Hmm.
ourselves in a prison that they control.
Hmm.
And so, I had to make the commitment that I have to be free. I got
Sure.
live free tatted on my arm right here. Live free. Live free. I can't. I'm gonna do my best to represent my story, my faith, my experience as best I can. I'm gonna do my best to live authentically and truthfully. And I'm gonna also understand that as a response to that, some people may not like it, or some people may find criticism.
Sure.
It's okay. That just comes with the territory. If you want to
Hmm.
have an impact in the culture, if you want to have an impact in people's lives, then you're going to have to be open with the criticism. And I say, okay, it comes with the territory. However, I can't let the criticism, nor should anyone listening or watching this interview right now, let the criticism or the fear of it become the prison which you confine your entire life to. Because in order to be true, you do have to take steps of faith. You do have to do some things that others may not agree with. Your parents may not
Hmm.
agree with. Your spouse may not agree with. Your kids may not agree with. Your pastor may not agree with. But if it's true for you and you feel that that's what God is calling you to do, then you got to do it. And you got to do it. And guess what? Sometimes the criticism is actually confirmation you're heading in the right way. You're heading in the right path.
Hello? Yes, yes. I had
you
a
know,
conversation about this the other day. Yes, absolutely
yes,
agree.
it's true. True. One thing I'll add on that is, going the wrong way, if you really think about it, it's usually met with very little resistance.
Mm. Yeah,
Think
because
about it.
it's
Like
comfortable
it's
and it
comfortable.
works for and it works for everybody
Yes,
else's agenda. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
So if you go out to a club, how often people offer drinks? Like, oh yeah, shoot, they don't. No one's like saying, oh wait, hold on, you probably had too much. Like, no, here, drink this, take that. But when
yeah.
it comes to like, yo, I'm trying to get money for school. Oh, sorry, I ain't got it. You know what I mean? No,
Sure.
you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like so criticism and people's point of view, you could really look at that through the lens of like, oh, maybe I'm actually doing something right because people are reacting to it. So that's a long answer to your question, but it really
No,
comes.
but it's a great answer. Like someone needs to hear that. I'm that someone at this moment, but somebody else needs to hear that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah. Yes,
So give
yes.
us a little bit of a run through or just a run show of what else we can expect. Because clearly you got me. I'm locked in on just this question, this conversation. But what else can we look forward to with Be True?
Yeah, you can look forward to one, a night of entertainment, a night of hope. The show will make you laugh, it'll make you cry. I think it's going to inspire, anyone that comes to the theater Friday night and Saturday night. And I start the show, bringing people into this scene of me being 30 feet high on this ledge in Costa Rica and being tempted with whether or not I'm going to jump in the water below and the fear and the anxiety. And then I talk about how that moment was a parallel to a moment in my personal life that I had to make a decision if I was going to take a leap. And so I start the performance there, and then I walk people through this journey, over the past few years. And
Sure.
and so I basically bring them into different scenes of my life, and I do my best to bring it to life so that anyone listening can begin to get a mental picture of the scenes that
Yeah.
I'm describing and then begin to feel the emotions that I felt as I'm delivering, the performance of those scenes. So that's the format is, walking over the past, going through the past few years and walking people through that journey in a way
Sure.
that starts, with this jump and then I bookend it, with whether or not I ended up jumping.
Okay, I love that. I'm
Yeah,
here for the visual depiction of it, but let's talk about a part of the jumps that probably have helped you and the hurdles to get to this point. What would you say with a part of the breakdown is a part of or one of the lowest moments you care to share that helped
sure.
you find your way through it?
Yeah, I mean, the probably the lowest moment, and I talk about this in the show, is going through divorce. I mean,
Mhm,
divorce is a difficult thing for anybody. I don't wish it on anyone. If you can
mhm,
avoid it at all costs, I would encourage you to avoid it. But if you can't, then I believe that you have to face it with courage and faith and care, self-care, because it is one of the most difficult things to do. And so that was part of the breakdown. It wasn't the only, element of my personal breakdown, but it was a part of the breakdown, which I explore and really, dramatize, on stage through the Be True show. And I really kind of
mhm.
talk through, what went into that decision to some degree. I mean, there are some things that I'm not going to say, which I never will
Sure.
say. And there are some things that I express as it relates to just, my experience and ultimately identifying what my part was. And part of
Mhm.
the other breakdown was like all the things that happened to me professionally around that time and really being brought down to the studs of my life, just
Mhm.
having had this, persona and career, and then just literally, God just saying, okay, I'm going to strip everything and then begin the process of allowing my entire life to be rebuilt and
Yeah.
reimagined. And so that breakdown involves some of those moments. And then the breakthrough, involves me, finding love again, accelerating and, expanding in my career, all of these things that are currently happening. I could never have prayed for the life I currently have. It's pretty amazing. And I can tell
Yeah.
you in some of those dark moments, I didn't think that I was going to get through. And I know that so many people are in that same position. You look at your circumstances, you look at your situation, and you don't see a way through. And I
Mhm.
wanted to bring people into, my life, because some people who know me or know of me, they kind of look from the outside in and say, oh, everything's, always been great or perfect or whatever. And for me, this is the most real and raw and transparent I've been to say, hey, no, it really wasn't. And let me tell you what was going on with me,
Sure. Mhm.
behind the scenes and what was really, I'm presenting this image, but here's who I really am. And
Sure.
and so for me, I really want to walk people through that. One, because it's very, using art and entertainment as a way to heal and work through things. I mean, that's where great comedy comes from. That's where great music comes from. That's
Sure.
really great performances come from artists working through their own stuff,
Mhm.
and using that as fuel for the art. And this Be True show has given me an opportunity to do that. And I have no doubt that anyone that comes to the show will be blessed by it, motivated, inspired. And I think it'll be a catalyst for positive change in the lives of those who come to the theater Friday and Saturday.
Facts, facts. Okay, and number 1, congratulations on your engagement as well.
Yes.
Yeah, congrats. What are the wedding plans? What are we doing? Like,
Oh,
what's
yeah, hey,
going on?
that's top secret. You know what I mean? That's top secret. You know what I mean? It's mission impossible. This message is self-destruct if I say too much. Okay.
This is true.
Uh,
Okay,
but
understood. But
we're
congrats.
yes, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be able to find love again. And my fiance Maria Castillo is amazing, and I mean, it's almost like I say this sometimes. She says, "Don't say that." I'm just like I feel embarrassed, with how good it is.
Mm,
It's just embarrassing. I'm like, God, really? Like it's incredible. So I'm grateful to be able to find love, and that's something else that I explore in the show, which is
mhm.
when you go through heartbreak, two things can happen. One, the pain is so intense, you say, I'm never going through this again.
Hello? Yeah.
So when that happens, I call that closing. So you close your heart. So then what happens is when we close our heart, any person that we date or interact with romantically after that moment, we are going to make them pay for a bill for something that they never ordered.
Sure.
So then you've heard that statement, by Maya Angelou, I believe it was, hurt people hurt people. Well, what happens is when you close your heart, you become a hurt person. And inevitably, when you're dealing with other people, you will inflict that hurt. The other option when we go through heartbreak is to sit in that pain, to allow ourselves to go on a healing journey, and to never close. Keep our heart open. Fight for that, no matter how difficult it may be. Because at the end of the day, I believe love is the most important thing in the world. Love is the world's real superpower. And if we close, we can't let it in and we can't let
Sure.
it out. And love is what we need to live. So
Yeah.
I really wanted to do this show because it's really about, love. On my other arm, I got love wins on my other arm. You know what I
You
mean?
got the tattoos a part of the journey to
No,
help with the
that's
storytelling.
it. Like to help with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in that. You got to keep your heart
Yeah.
open. You got to keep it open, even when you got to cry, but keep it open. You got to fight, but keep it open, because when you do, then amazing, amazing things can be let in, and incredible things that you have to offer can be let out.
How did you find that balance? Because I'm sure there is a part of you that sat in it. There might have been a time where you're closed off as well. And we're spiritual beings having the human process of it right now. And the human part of you, like how did you figure out or get to the point of saying, I still need to operate in a place of love?
Yep. Here's how I did it. It was through two words: grace and space. So I had to give myself the grace
Hmm.
to to say, hey, I've gone through something painful. Um, yeah, I'm not perfect,
Hmm.
and I just have to give myself grace that I'm trying to figure it out at that time. Like I'm just trying to deal with what I was going through. So that's first thing. The space means I had to give myself the room to heal, the room to explore, the room to rebuild, and then the room to not be worried in any regard about what anybody in the public thinks.
Sure.
You all know, the man of God, or the man you think I am. I just have to be a man, and just allow myself grace and space to heal, to just be, to not try to be like, oh, well, I'm come out with another book, or, go and preach all
Yeah.
over the country. Like I was like, no, I just got to be. I just got to give myself the grace and the space to take a time out
Hmm.
and just be. Take it
Yeah.
moment by moment. That's what I had to do, and to trust that the grace and the space would work for me, not against me. Because sometimes we feel
Hmm.
like, oh, wait a minute, if I'm not out here posting on social and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, then I'm going to miss out or lose. But what
Yeah.
I learned is that healing time, that grace and space time, actually helps us, because
Yeah.
as we start to put the pieces together of our life and we rebuild our life, we are then able to manage all that will come. Whereas if we don't give ourselves that grace and space and we rush, I think it
Hmm.
actually does much more damage in the long run.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Now, how do you have these conversations with church folk? Like, what's the church community? You know what I mean? And that's a real conversation. We see you as
Yeah.
being a follower of Christ. I'll say it in that way.
Yeah.
But
Amen.
it's also differences of how people align themselves with what they choose to follow or what they shouldn't have to follow. How do you have these conversations, especially when it comes to divorce, when it comes to practicing faith and really still, honoring Christ, but also being a human being?
Right. I mean, and listen, this is why I'm so excited about this show, because I
Yeah.
talk about this very specific thing. The show is not a sermon. It's not, me, the preacher or producer. It's me, DeVon. It's me, the man
Yeah.
that's talking on that stage. And part of the answer to your question is we each one of us has to make a decision on how we're going to
Sure.
live life. And so often the people that are quick to judge, the people that are quick to say, well, you shouldn't be, are the same people that feel judged themselves.
Sure.
They'll ridicule themselves, that feel like they had to make sacrifices to live the way they're living, and they feel justified in telling other people the sacrifices that they need to make. And
Hmm.
specifically when you put that through the lens of faith, there is a culture of judgment that we have to continue to push against.
Hmm.
Christianity fundamentally It's a religion of love. It's a movement of love. That's it. It used to be called the way. Back in the day, it was called the way,
Hmm.
because of what Christ did and his death and resurrection. And then those at that time were so compelled by the love of Christ that it became a movement that could not be stopped, which still continues to this day. So to your point, the reason why the love is so profound is because we all know who we are and what we've gone through and the things we've done that we wish we didn't do and we wish didn't happen.
Hmm.
And we still feel that love. And part of that love is grace, and part of that love is mercy, and part of that love is redemption. And so when it comes to how to model that, one of the reasons why I love to do this show is that, I'm still going to be a man of God and a Christian on that stage, but I'm going to be the man because so often we feel like we have to present. We feel like we have
Hmm.
to show you, okay, here's how I want you to think of me. I want to create an image that you think I am, but I'm actually very different than that. And I feel
Sure.
like, God can't really minister to the image or the persona. He ministers to the person. And I feel like in our Christian culture, we need to have more grace and space for each other. We need to
Sure.
acknowledge that just because I might be on mile 10 of my journey and I have the
Hmm.
conditioning to run, 10 miles, this person might be on mile 1. So I'm
Yeah.
over here criticizing them when I'm on mile 10, they're on mile 1. That's not the way.
Yeah.
It's not the way of love. It's not the way of acceptance. It's not the way of peace. So long answer to your question, but part of the way that I do it is to model it and do my very best to articulate, who I am and the process I'm going through.
Thank you again for so much of your time. But I did want to show you this. Hold on, because I had this on my nightstand and I said, I need to read this again. And I said, I'm going to bring it in today.
Nice. Success
Oh,
commandments.
no, this is so good. And I said, I read this a long time ago, but I said I wanted to revisit this again. But I absolutely love just your introduction, what the church doesn't teach you about success. And you just talking about your journey over at Columbia Pictures, and you just hearing how it's time to leave, it's time to elevate, you got to quit your job. When it comes to that point of quitting, or can you speak on stepping out on faith when it comes to that and how to do that in these spaces and times that we live in?
Yeah, I think the most important thing I can say as it regards to stepping out on faith is to it's like you have to be irrationally rational. So
Yeah.
here's what I mean by that. It's like, in the times when I've quit a job or I've moved in faith, it wasn't impulsive, right?
Sure.
It was not impulsive. It was based upon a period of time evaluating the cost benefit analysis, meaning is staying at this job costing me more than the benefit? Meaning,
Mhm.
have I plateaued in what I'm learning? Am I still progressing? And if the benefit is greater than the cost, then I would say, okay, I'm going to stay. But once I feel like I've stopped progressing, and there's a plateauing financially or just in the job, I can't go any higher. That's when it starts to cost me more than the benefit. And that's
Sure.
when it's time to take a leap of faith. And when I
Mhm.
say irrational, is that every leap of faith is a bit irrational because you're stepping into the unknown. You don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But if you are impulsive, you could be irrationally irrational versus
Yeah.
irrationally rational, which is if you do the cost benefit analysis and it's costing you more than the benefit, and you make the decision to take the leap of faith, it's still irrational, but it's built on something that's rational because you've done your assessment. You didn't just get
Mhm.
mad one day and say, I'm quitting this job. You look at the situation, you evaluated it, you gave it time, and then you moved. That's what I
Sure.
would tell someone. Don't be afraid of the leap of faith, but do your cost benefit analysis first.
But we're going to take a leap in faith and stepping out with you to be true. So we're going to definitely do that this weekend. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Congratulations on Divorced Sisters, as well as I want to say you have a film coming out in October as well, correct?
Yeah, I have a film. Well, I have a film that I produced coming in September called Ruth
Okay.
Boaz, which comes out on Netflix. I produced that film with Tyler Perry, and then I have a movie that I'm in October called Soul on Fire that's coming out through Sony Pictures.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to seeing you. You got to come to Philly. But in
Yes,
the
I will.
meantime, we're going to come to New York and we're going
Thank
to
you.
see you next time as well. No, thank you so much for your time. This was
Of
amazing.
course.
Please stay in touch. If there's anything that we can support you with, then
Okay.
please let us know as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right. Take
Have
care.
a great day. See
All right.
ya.
You too. God